On May 15, 1989, the city of Las Vegas tuned in to the local evening news on KLAS-TV. What they were about to hear would ignite decades of controversy and fuel some of the most enduring debates about UFOs and government secrecy. Investigative reporter George Knapp introduced a man who appeared in shadow, his voice altered electronically. The man was presented under the pseudonym Dennis, his identity hidden out of fear for his safety. Speaking in calm but deliberate tones, Dennis claimed that he had worked at a secret installation south of Area 51, a site he referred to as S4. There, he said, the United States government was not merely testing advanced aircraft, it was attempting to reverse engineer extraterrestrial technology. The interview was unlike anything viewers had seen on the nightly news. This wasn't another blurry photo, another distant sighting of lights in the sky. This was a man claiming to have been inside the program. He described saucer-shaped craft sitting in hangars carved into the mountainside. He spoke of propulsion systems unlike anything on Earth, powered by an element that was not even on the periodic table at the time. He alleged that scientists, under extreme secrecy, were studying these crafts in hopes of reproducing their technology. The gravity of his claims was staggering. If true, the U.S. government not only possessed alien spacecraft, but was actively engaged in unraveling their secrets. For UFO enthusiasts, it was vindication. For skeptics, it was outrageous. For the general public, it was electrifying. A few months later, Dennis stepped forward to reveal his real name, Bob Lazar. He was not a faceless whistleblower anymore. He stood in front of the cameras and openly declared that he had been employed as a physicist tasked with analyzing alien propulsion systems at a site few had ever heard of, S4, a highly classified facility adjacent to the now infamous Area 51. From that moment, Lazar became a central figure in the UFO debate. His story drew attention from believers, skeptics, scientists, and government officials alike. He was praised, ridiculed, investigated, and harassed. Some saw him as a hero for blowing the whistle. Others accused him of fabrication, a man who had woven together technical-sounding jargon with popular fascination to create a modern myth. But what cannot be denied is that his first appearance on television changed the conversation. Before Lazar, Area 51 was little more than a footnote whispered about in aviation circles. After Lazar, it became synonymous with secrecy, UFOs, and the possibility that humanity was not alone. The shockwaves from that broadcast still echo today.
Bob Lazar was born in 1959 in Coral Gables, Florida, and grew up with a fascination for science and technology. From a young age, he displayed an aptitude for mathematics and physics, excelling in school and nurturing a curiosity about the natural world. By the time he reached adulthood, Lazar claimed to have earned degrees in physics and electronics, though later investigators would find conflicting records, adding to the controversy that would define his life. In the early 1980s, Lazar moved to the desert Southwest, eventually making his way to Nevada. He claimed that his technical expertise had drawn the attention of a government contractor seeking specialists in highly classified research. It was at this point that Lazar says he was recruited to S4, a top-secret facility located near the infamous Area 51, hidden behind mountains and guarded by strict security protocols. According to Lazar, S4 was unlike any place he had ever encountered. Hangars were built directly into the side of the mountains, camouflaged and inaccessible to ordinary personnel. Inside, he observed disc-shaped craft, some only partially intact, others seemingly operational. He described them as aerodynamic, metallic, and unlike any human-made aircraft, with propulsion systems that defied known physics. Central to his account was the operation of these craft. Lazar claimed they were powered by Element 15, a then-unknown element with properties that allowed the manipulation of gravity. By generating a gravitational wave, the craft could seemingly defy the conventional limits of propulsion, hovering, accelerating, and maneuvering in ways that human technology could not replicate. He described being assigned to study these systems, reverse engineering them to understand the technology. He explained that the work required extreme secrecy. Personnel were under strict orders not to discuss their work, even with colleagues. Security at S4 was omnipresent, with cameras, armed guards, and rigorous background checks, ensuring that no information would escape the facility. Lazar also recalled the psychological strain of working in such an environment. The secrecy, combined with the weight of understanding technology that could revolutionize energy and transportation, created a constant tension. Mistakes were not tolerated, and the consequences for breaching protocol were severe. During his tenure, Lazar said he encountered not just technology, but fragments of alien culture and design. Symbols on the craft's interior walls, patterns on consoles, and markings on the ships themselves suggested a civilization with a level of sophistication far beyond human capabilities. While he did not claim to have met extraterrestrial beings directly, he believed that the technology pointed unmistakably to non-human origin. His experiences at S4, Lazar explained, would eventually become unbearable. The combination of secrecy, moral uncertainty, and the looming possibility of government retaliation convinced him that he could no longer remain silent. His departure from the facility marked the beginning of a period of relative obscurity until he chose to share his story publicly in 1989. Bob Lazar's account, beginning with his first TV appearance, set the stage for decades of debate. Supporters argued that his knowledge of technical details, including claims about the propulsion system and Element 15, lent credibility to his story. Skeptics countered with inconsistencies in his academic record and lack of corroborating employment documentation. Yet whether one believes Lazar or not, his narrative has left an indelible mark on UFO culture and Area 51 mythology.
At the heart of Bob Lazar's claims was the propulsion system of the alien craft he said he studied at S4. Unlike conventional aircraft, which rely on jet engines or rockets, these disc-shaped vehicles appeared to manipulate gravity itself. Lazar explained that the craft generated a gravitational field around the vehicle, allowing it to lift off, hover silently, and accelerate at incredible speeds without producing observable thrust. Central to this technology, according to Lazar, was Element 115, an element not known to science at the time. Lazar described it as the key to powering the craft's gravity manipulation system. Element 115, he claimed, produced a stable anti-gravity field when bombarded with energy, creating a distortion in space-time that allowed the craft to move in ways conventional physics could not explain. The method of operation, Lazar said, was astonishing in its sophistication. The craft contained 3 reactors, each utilizing a small amount of element 115. When energized, these reactors produced gravitational waves that could be amplified and focused, effectively bending gravity around the ship. The result was silent hovering, sudden acceleration, and maneuvers that defied inertia. Pilots, Lazar explained, did not rely on traditional controls. Instead, the craft responded to the pilot's thoughts, with the gravitational field adjusting in real time. Inside S4 hangars, Lazar described the process of studying and reverse engineering these systems. Panels and consoles were covered in symbols and markings that suggested an alien design logic, with controls that bore little resemblance to any human interface. Engineers at S4, he said, were tasked with learning the patterns, understanding the energy flows, and reproducing the results using terrestrial materials. Lazar claimed that he had seen prototypes and partially disassembled craft up close. He described the metallic surfaces as unusually smooth, capable of withstanding extreme energy stresses. Windows on the craft were opaque, but reportedly transparent under certain lighting conditions, and the interiors were compact, functional, and highly organized. He also emphasized the secrecy surrounding Element 115. Samples of the element were stored under lock and key, accessible only to a select few. Lazar claimed that he had handled small quantities during testing and had witnessed its extraordinary properties firsthand. According to Lazar, the element's instability under Earth's conditions made large-scale experiments difficult, yet even minute amounts were sufficient to demonstrate anti-gravity effects. Skeptics have noted that element 115, known at the time as moscovium, had not been synthesized in laboratories until decades later, and even then it exists only for milliseconds before decaying. Supporters of Lazar argue that this is precisely what makes his testimony compelling. He described an element unknown to science that would later be discovered, lending credibility to his account. Beyond the technical specifics, Lazar's story captured the imagination because it suggested a reality far beyond human engineering, a civilization capable of manipulating gravity, creating stable anti-gravity reactors, and constructing vehicles that respond to thought, represented a level of technology that dwarfed humanity. For many, this was the most astonishing aspect of Lazar's testimony, the implication that humans had stumbled upon evidence of something not of this world, hidden just beyond the Nevada desert. Lazar's detailed accounts of S4, the propulsion systems, and element 115 became central to his story and to the modern mythology of Area 51. His claims inspired scientists, conspiracy theorists, and UFO enthusiasts alike, fueling debates that continue to this day about whether the United States has secretly reverse-engineered alien technology or whether Lazar's story is a work of fabrication.
Once Bob Lazar's story went public, the reaction was immediate and intense. UFO enthusiasts hailed him as a whistleblower who had exposed one of the government's most closely guarded secrets. Area 51, previously a relatively obscure military testing site, became synonymous with alien spacecraft, secrecy, and advanced technology. Lazar's claims energized a growing UFO subculture, sparking debates in magazines, conventions, and talk shows across the country. At the same time, skepticism was swift and unrelenting. Investigators and journalists questioned Lazar's academic and employment credentials, noting discrepancies in his claimed degrees and the absence of public records confirming his tenure at institutions he referenced. Critics accused him of fabricating the story or exaggerating technical details to create a sensation. Some suggested that he may have been involved in government testing in other areas and had conflated or misunderstood the work. Government agencies were quick to distance themselves. The Department of Energy and the Atomic Energy Commission, which Lazar cited in relation to his physics background, confirmed that there was no record of him working on classified projects there. Area 51 itself remained and remains a tightly controlled facility, with official statements firmly denying any connection to alien technology. This combination of secrecy and denials only added fuel to the controversy. Despite the criticism, Lazar's story found a receptive audience. Journalists like George Knapp continued to report on his claims, producing follow-up interviews and documentaries. The narrative of S4, alien propulsion, and element 115 resonated because it was detailed, technical, and unlike the anecdotal UFO reports that dominated media coverage at the time. Lazar spoke with specificity about ship dimensions, reactor designs, and gravity wave manipulation in a way that sounded credible to many, even if skeptics disagreed. The backlash extended to personal life. Lazar claimed that after going public, he was monitored and harassed by individuals he believed were connected to government agencies. He reported strange cars outside his home, threats, and a general sense of being watched. Whether these incidents were real or perceived, they reinforced the narrative of secrecy and danger surrounding the story. Media coverage framed Lazar in multiple ways. To believers, he was a hero, exposing hidden truths. To skeptics, he was either a fraud or a misguided individual seeking attention. Popular culture began referencing his story, embedding it in the mythology of Area 51 and modern UFO lore. Books, documentaries, and later films drew on his claims, cementing Lazar's role as a central figure in the narrative of alien technology on Earth. Public fascination with Lazar also influenced the scientific community indirectly.
While mainstream physicists largely dismissed his claims, his detailed descriptions of propulsion and element 115 sparked curiosity about the limits of physics, anti-gravity research, and advanced energy concepts. Some scientists acknowledged that while Lazar's story was unverified, the discussion it prompted about exotic propulsion technologies was, at least hypothetically, worth exploring. By the early 1990s, Bob Lazar had become a cultural icon. Interviews, conventions, and documentaries kept his story alive long after his initial 1989 television appearance. The enduring debate over his credibility, combined with the mystery of Area 51, transformed his claims into more than just a UFO story. They became a symbol of secrecy, whistleblowing, and the possibility that humanity may not be the sole proprietor of advanced technology on Earth.
In the years following his initial interviews, Bob Lazar largely stepped out of the public spotlight, though his story continued to ripple across UFO and conspiracy communities. He claimed that the personal and professional risks of coming forward had made anonymity a necessity, yet the intrigue surrounding him only grew. Area 51, once a secret testing site, became a symbol of government concealment, and Lazar's account was central to its mythology. Lazar also discussed the broader implications of element 115. In his interviews, he described how the element's ability to generate gravitational fields could revolutionize energy and transportation. Unlike chemical fuels, it offered the possibility of nearly unlimited power. While skeptics noted that at the time element 115 had not been discovered or synthesized, in 2003 scientists successfully produced moscovium, element 115, albeit in extremely unstable, short-lived isotopes. For supporters of Lazar, this discovery lent credibility to his claims, suggesting that his knowledge of the element predated official scientific confirmation. The story of S4 and alien technology raised questions about the scope of secret government programs. Was Lazar's account an isolated case, or did it hint at a broader hidden infrastructure of reverse-engineered extraterrestrial technology? Conspiracy theorists argued that decades of classified research had equipped the United States with knowledge far beyond public awareness, potentially explaining why the government maintained strict control over areas like Nevada's deserts and the airspace above them. Despite ongoing skepticism, Lazar's story inspired countless researchers, journalists, and enthusiasts to pursue investigations into Area 51 and UFO phenomena. Documentaries and books explored his claims in detail, often juxtaposing his technical descriptions with the secrecy surrounding Nevada test sites. The question remained: if Lazar was truthful, what had been achieved with this technology, and why had it remained hidden? Lazar's personal life, including his ventures outside UFO work, reflected a quieter existence, but remained touched by the story that had defined him. He worked in Las Vegas, owning businesses, while sporadically granting interviews to journalists and documentary filmmakers. Each appearance reignited interest, drawing attention from both believers eager for confirmation and skeptics seeking inconsistencies. The enduring fascination with Lazar stems not just from the audacity of his claims, but from the environment in which they were made. Area 51, a site shrouded in secrecy, provides the perfect backdrop for the story of alien technology. The combination of technical specificity, alleged government intimidation, and the eventual public revelation created a narrative that remains compelling decades later. Bob Lazar's story also influenced modern discourse about UFOs and unidentified aerial phenomena, UAPs. As governments began to release pilot footage, declassify documents, and establish official investigatory programs, the echoes of Lazar's account were evident. Discussions about advanced propulsion systems, secret research facilities, and unexplained aerial sightings often referenced his work,
demonstrating the long-term cultural and scientific impact of his revelations. In the end, whether viewed as a whistleblower, a hoaxer, or a visionary, Bob Lazar occupies a central place in the mythology of UFOs and Area 51. His claims continue to provoke debate, inspire investigation, and fuel speculation about the limits of human knowledge, the extent of government secrecy, and the possibility that alien technology may exist just beyond the reach of public understanding.
Decades after Bob Lazar first went public, his story continues to resonate deeply within the UFO community. Over the years, countless interviews, documentaries, and discussions have revisited his experiences, affirming the significance of what he witnessed at S4 and the technological mysteries he described. Lazar's accounts remain remarkable for their specificity and technical depth. His descriptions of the disc-shaped craft, the anti-gravity propulsion systems, and the mysterious element 115 reveal a level of detail that few could fabricate. He spoke not in vague impressions, but in terms of reactor layouts, energy flow patterns, and the operational principles of technology far beyond human capabilities. These are not the tales of someone merely repeating popular UFO lore. They are the observations of someone who claimed to have been inside a facility designed to study and reverse engineer extraterrestrial craft. Element 115, the element at the heart of the craft's propulsion, stands as a compelling cornerstone of Lazar's story. Years before its official synthesis by scientists, Lazar spoke of a material capable of generating gravity waves, enabling these craft to hover silently, accelerate instantaneously, and maneuver with absolute precision. His insight into this previously unknown element, its behavior, its properties, and its application in anti-gravity technology suggests first-hand knowledge that aligns uncannily with later scientific discovery. Those who follow Lazar's story closely note the consistency of his narrative. From his first interview on Las Vegas television in 1989 to subsequent documentaries and personal appearances, the core of his testimony has remained unchanged. His demeanor, measured and precise, underscores a commitment to truth over theatrics. Lazar has never sought fame or exaggeration. He has only shared what he claims to have witnessed under extraordinary circumstances. Moreover, Lazar's revelations helped shift public perception of Area 51. Before his testimony, the site was an obscure military installation. After Lazar spoke, it became a symbol of advanced technology, secrecy, and the possibility of extraterrestrial presence. His story gave shape to decades of curiosity, research, and cultural fascination, inspiring enthusiasts to investigate, discuss, and theorize about what might exist beyond conventional understanding. In addition, Lazar's story intersects with the broader scientific imagination. The propulsion methods he described challenge our understanding of physics, suggesting possibilities once considered purely speculative. By sharing his experiences, Lazar opened a doorway to considering technologies and principles that could transform humanity's approach to energy and space travel. For believers, Lazar's legacy is not just about the craft he described, but about the courage it took to reveal what so few are willing to discuss. He represents a window into a hidden reality, a world of advanced technology that is carefully guarded but undeniably present. His story continues to inspire generations of researchers, enthusiasts, and curious minds who look to the skies and wonder what remains undiscovered. Bob Lazar's testimony stands as a cornerstone of modern UFO culture. It reminds us that truth may lie behind walls of secrecy, that knowledge may exist beyond official acknowledgement, and that humanity may have glimpsed a reality far more astonishing than most dare to imagine. His experiences encourage us to keep questioning, exploring, and believing in what lies beyond the boundaries of our understanding.
The story of Bob Lazar does not end with interviews and documentaries. It continues in the influence he has had on UFO culture, scientific curiosity, and public imagination. His revelations about S4 and alien technology have become central to the modern understanding of Area 51, shaping the way the world thinks about government secrecy and the possibilities of advanced, non-human engineering. Lazar's account is extraordinary, not only for its technical depth, but for its consistency and credibility over decades. He described propulsion systems that could manipulate gravity, craft capable of instantaneous acceleration, and the mysterious element 115, all with the precision of someone who had seen these phenomena firsthand. Every retelling of his story maintains these details, reinforcing the impression that he is sharing real knowledge, not constructing a tale. The impact of Lazar's testimony extends far beyond his personal narrative. Area 51, once a remote military testing ground, is now a cultural touchstone for secrecy, exploration, and the unknown. His story has inspired countless researchers, scientists, and enthusiasts to pursue investigations into what the government may know, what technology might exist, and what remains hidden from public view. Lazar opened a window into a world that until his disclosure, most people could only imagine. Moreover, his claims challenged the boundaries of science itself. The propulsion systems he described and the manipulation of gravity through element 115 suggest a reality that conventional physics struggles to explain. For believers, this is not evidence of fabrication, it is proof that there is more to the universe than current human understanding can encompass. Lazar's story is an invitation to expand our scientific horizons and consider the extraordinary possibilities that lie just beyond our reach. Even today, Lazar's testimony resonates in media, documentaries, and discussions about unidentified aerial phenomena. New generations of UFO enthusiasts continue to study his claims, analyze his technical descriptions, and explore the implications of advanced, possibly extraterrestrial technology. His story has become a reference point, a foundational chapter in the ongoing dialogue about what lies beyond Earth and the technology we may not yet be capable of understanding. Bob Lazar's enduring legacy is not defined by controversy or disbelief. It is defined by the courage to reveal what so few dare to acknowledge. His experiences remind us that the truth, however hidden, is always worth pursuing. They challenge us to look beyond the ordinary, to question what we are told, and to remain open to the possibility that humanity has glimpsed a reality far greater than our current understanding. In the end, Bob Lazar's story is a testament to exploration, curiosity, and revelation. It is a story of courage in the face of secrecy, of knowledge at the edge of human comprehension, and of the enduring human desire to know what lies beyond.
If you enjoyed today's video, we thank you very much. Please like and subscribe to Rare Breed Chronicles. And let's dive into another story that defies the ordinary.